Hello, chillins, and welcome back to Mr. Monster Man. So last week I submitted a video talking about my Sasquatch slash paranormal experience slash Bigfoot paranormal experience when I was around like 8 or 9 years old. Hopefully you enjoyed that. This week I will be talking about more along the lines of ghosts and spirits, which was significantly different. If of course, like they're very different. Because one of them is cryptid and the other is more of a. I would want to say that the other has more to do with the astral plane or like anything that's dead. I'm not really sure what a ghost actually is. I just feel it because I've had multiple experiences with ghosts as a child and as a teenager, not and as an adult, so I know what they feel like. So let's get into it. So, about when I was 12 years old, my family moved to a town. I'm not going to say the name of the town, but it was a little bit different from the town that I was raised in as a child, which is where I saw the Bigfoot slash Sasquatch creature. And the town I came from was, just to give you a little backstory, it has nothing to do with the actual ghost, but backstory. Town was a little bit bigger. There was actual stores like Kmart and like chain stores like that. Where I came from, there were no chain stores at all. You had to at least drive half an hour just to get to the nearest chain store. There's nothing. So with this, you could walk to Kmart or you could walk to Albertsons or any of those stores, and you'd be fine. Like major chain grocery stores. So just a little bit of backstory. So I was about 12 or 13 years old. I was homeschooled at the time, and I was in like 7th or 8th grade. I repeated 7th grade twice, I think. No, I just repeated it once. So, um, so when I moved into the house, everything was very unfamiliar. I wasn't very comfortable with the living arrangements. I was sleeping on the ground because my parents hadn't bought a bed for me, so it was a pretty uncomfortable experience. But after a while, that was like after we moved in, things started to get like we got into our little routine of things, and it got easier to like acclimate to the stuff like school. Even though I was homeschooled, but school. Just a lot of like other things. My younger siblings were going to school. My older siblings were in the military or they were working. So there was a lot of time that I spent in the house. And after a while, things got a little strange because I started noticing things that my other family members didn't really seem to notice. There were a couple things, and I know it's some of this is going to sound a little silly, but there were parts like there were dents in the wall that looked like a human face. Like it was weird. Um, and I know that like psychology is like the back of your brain says, "Oh, you see human faces and everything." And this kind of, I don't know, it was weird. Maybe I'll show some pictures later. Those are not very well. They are relevant, but they're not as relevant as a story. So around this time, I was 13, 14 years old, and I was asleep. And at the time, I slept in the same room as my little sister, and she was really young. She was like 3 or 4, maybe 5. That's be generous. She was 5, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. Um, and I was like, I think I had fallen asleep, and then I woke up because I either heard something or I felt something. I can't remember particularly which one it was. I'm pretty sure I felt something, like kind of like a shaking type feeling waking me up. So I opened my eyes, and my bed is situated right next to the wall on my side of the room. My sister was on the other side of the room. And I'm looking, and I'm starting to look at this wall, and I'm awake, like pretty decently awake, and I start to see this thing coming through the wall. Like it's like a portal in the wall is opening, and I'm like looking, at this portal, just like it's kind of like if you've seen those, like any science fiction movie, it's like it's not like they all look the same. I mean, kind of like the fabric of the universe is like slowly unraveling, and you can see this other dimension. There's like these things coming out of it. It was a very similar experience to that. Um, Kind of looked like, I don't know. It just looked like it was kind of pixelated. If I'm gonna be specific, like kind of like a video game where like there's a glitch and you can't like there's something wrong in the programming, and then there's like a hole, and then like things are coming out of the hole. It kind of looked like that. Anyways, I was looking at it, and all of a sudden, this girl comes through. She's really filmy looking, and at that moment, I was like, "This is a ghost." There's no question on my end of whether or not what this thing is. I know I can feel it in my core that this thing is a ghost. Um, because I had seen things before, and I'll tell those later. Um, I see these seen these things before. I'm just like ghost. Because I will get to this in a minute. But anyway, she comes through the wall, and I can't hear what she's saying. And when I do, it's really hard to hear. It's like someone's like a million miles away, like crying out. And I'm not scared. I'm just like, what is going on? Like, and then the other part is me like, yeah, ghost. I mean, I've always been like that. If I ever see something that's really just so jarring, I just kind of shut down and like, I'm seeing a supernatural thing right now. Yeah. I know it's probably not healthy to react that way, but that's kind of how I look at things sometimes. So she's coming out of the wall, and she comes really close to the bed, and she's crying for help. She's like, "Help me." Like, I don't know like what she's saying, because like it sounds like a different language. I can't hear her very well. So it's like, but on her face, it's like, "Oh my God, I need help. Like, help me, please." And this is a weird situation for me, because number one, a ghost is coming out of the wall asking me for help. That alone is strange. It's like, because ghosts has never really scared me. They've never caused me any harm. I've never like encountered a ghost that didn't like me so far. Knock on wood. Um, so I've never like, it's never turned out bad for me. Well, one occasion, but that was different. So that alone, I'm just like, what? How do I deal with this situation? How do I help you? um, I don't know if she was gonna yank me into the portal. I don't know if she was gonna like, I don't know what she was gonna do. So after a while, she was just like, help, help, help. And it was like slowly crunching in her. The portal was slowly like crunching in on her and like closing in over her. And after a while, I was like, sorry, I'm immortal. I can't do too much unless you want me to send a message or something, but I don't know what you're saying. I didn't say anything to her. I just was like, yeah. So she left, and I was like, what just happened? I am completely confused. So after that, I think I went back to sleep, though I had trouble going back to sleep. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if this was a dream or if there was another ghost, but there was a little boy in my room taking out, and this was kind of creepy. He was taking toys out of my little sister had a toy chest right by her bed, and he was opening it up. Ooh, this is creepy. He was like opening it up and taking toys out of her toy chest, but it was weird because I could see him like it felt like it was between two different like time periods. Like I was watching him doing this, and he was like both in the physical reality and his own. Like he was on like this weird like street playing with toys, and I was watching him taking toys out of my sister's toy chest at the same time. I have no idea what was going on. It was scary. And I know that he had something to do with the girl that came out of the wall. So that was kind of scary because I think ultimately it told me that there are like overlapping realities. I don't know how real this one was, but right now it's freaking freaking me out. Because up until now I didn't really think about it in depth, and I'm like, this is really scary. So that happened, and I think it was just like 99% sure it was the same night. My memory's kind of messed up. I had some issues recently, and we're just gonna say that my memory's not as good as it used to be. Let's just leave it at that. But yeah, like it was really strange what was happening. This guy was like taking my sister's toys and playing with them in the room. It was freaky. And it looks like he was like I could almost see through him and see his what he was seeing. But I saw what I was seeing at the same time, which is really odd. I've never heard an encounter like that. I mean, I definitely have to do more research when it comes to paranormal slash ghost stories, but this was kind of weird. I never heard anything like it. So that happened. So afterwards, the next morning, I tell my parents, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you have a good imagination and everything." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course you don't believe me." And I kind of dropped it at that, but it was really weird. I mean, I've had different, and I will share these ghost stories as well. But I've had different paranormal experiences, but this one was definitely different. Um, because they were asking me for help. I've never heard a ghost story where the ghost is like, "Help me," to anybody. Usually they're scaring people. I mean, I shouldn't, that's really mean. I shouldn't laugh about them scaring people, but they've never scared me. I mean, only one time, and this spirit seemed to be not angry, but he seemed to want to like mess with my head. He did a good job at it. um, hmm. But with the other cases, they were either like friendly, either stopping by like to chat, or they were just minding their own business, and I just happened to like not get in their way, but like I just happened to see them. I really don't know why. Um, I see these things, but I mean, it's cool. It makes my life a lot more interesting because my life is actually extremely boring. So I'm glad that they stopped by. I always enjoy when a ghost or a spirit just kind of like moseys on into my life. It's a cool thing. But this one, I feel really bad because I wasn't able to help her. I mean, I don't feel guilt, but I'm like, yeah, I could have like I missed out on an adventure. Or it could have been something like that. Or maybe she wanted to trick me and pull me into that reality and then do some freaky things. You can, yeah, that's left to the imagination what freaky things she would want to do to me. Oh, yeah. So that is my teenage ghost story, and I hope you liked it. So stay tuned for next week because I'm submitting my first monster video. So keep an eye out for that. I won't tell you anymore, but well, other than the fact that I will be making a special Adobe Spark video, so you won't be seeing my face. Yes, but you will be seeing illustrations. I will put music on the video. It'll look cool and all these cool things. So stay tuned for next week for my first monster video. And also, I would like to make an announcement about I am reviewing a book I don't currently have with me physically right now, and I will mention it in a follow-up video later on in the middle of next week, but it is my first book about death that I will be reviewing because I plan on doing monthly book reviews about death to help me with my philosophy, like death philosophy talks. So those are the two things you can be looking for. So until then, have a nice day, chillins.